Welcome back to another episode with your host, Lisa and Desi. And
Hi.
today we are going to have an episode that is talking about the decision that changed everything. And in this episode, you are going to get to know us better. We are excited to basically share our stories of what has really led us here today. So, why are we here? What are we doing? And what was the moment that we decided that really led us into this direction? So, the first question I'm going to ask Desi first to answer is, what did your life look like before you found life coaching?
Hmm. As we're preparing for this episode, it's like there's so many different directions that we can take. And oddly enough, before Lisa and I met, we have a similar way that we came into our life coaching certification. For me, I had just got married in 2017. I was living with my husband and I had moved out from California to Arizona to be with Jason. And I knew I didn't want to keep doing the career I was doing. I liked what I was doing in California, but then when I came to Arizona, I had to do something totally new, which was loan processing. And if you ever bought a house, you know how meticulous it is to get all of the paperwork in. So I was the girl that collected all of the paperwork and then I had to like go through it with a fine comb, tooth and nail, and I had to put together this pretty package for this underwriter then to go through it and like
Mm.
scrutinize all my work that I did or didn't do or didn't have. And it was just not a fun job. It was very
No.
detail oriented. It was very demanding. And so the decision that we had made is like, okay, after we get married, because I had gone engaged, moved out here, then it took us a few
Hmm.
years to get married. But after I get married, like you can do whatever you want. Like you don't have to stay at that job anymore. Like let's just get through, our wedding. And so we got married in September of 2017. And after that, it was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what am I going to do? And so with that, I had started dabbling around in Beachbody, which
Yeah.
Lisa did as well. And so I
Hmm.
started like this entrepreneurial. I actually had already done Arbonne and I love Arbonne. I love still use their products today. And then I started dabbling around in Beachbody because I wanted to get in shape. I was getting married,
Yep.
all the things. And so I was dabbling around in that. And then, all of that network marketing. And, they have a lot of like uplifting things. And, you're
Yes.
starting to follow people on Instagram and you're starting to like,
Hmm.
get your feet wet in this like entrepreneurial world that's like opening up all these doors. And, as I'm having these conversations with Jason, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I've always wanted to help people. Like, I've really always wanted to help people. And so that was kind of like always in the back of my head. And so through Beachbody, I think we both stumbled across Angie Lee,
Yeah.
who was just like this funny like comedian. I don't even know what she did back then. She did a lot
She
of
was
women's
definitely
empowerment.
coaching.
What was
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
She was coaching and yeah, women's empowerment. Like you said, I think that definitely defines her.
Right, women's empowerment. And so she had this really spunky girl take over her stories one day. And she was talking about how you can become a life coach and how you can help people change their lives. And she was just going on and on and on about how amazing it is and what her mission is and what you could do with this coaching certification. And right there, things started to really click for me. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
this is something that I can kind of do. Like, what is it I'm supposed to do? And like, here's this thing that like sounds so amazing. And like, wow, this is so cool. And I remember bringing it to Jason and being like, oh, I got this really cool download. And I got this woman that came across my feed that was so random because she was on somebody else's story talking about da da da. And then we started having this big, long conversation about what that would look like and what it entailed. And so our coaching certification was 10 months long. This is where Lisa
Mhm.
and I got to meet, which is such a
Yeah.
blessing because how many years later has it been? Almost going to be 10 years. That's crazy. No, not 10 years. Wait,
No.
what is it going to be? I'm not good at math. 7 years. Is it 7 years? Did I
Yes.
get it
So,
right? Yeah, 7 years. Look at me.
yeah,
But
7.
even
Yep.
7 years, that's like so crazy that it's gone by
Yeah.
so quickly, right? And
So
so
quick.
this was a really big investment, guys. Like
Yep.
we invested in ourselves. So like, yeah, I had been doing some beach body and like dabbling around, but I remember when we looked up the price point, it was like a semester of school, like at a very prominent school. Like it was a huge investment. And so there's a lot of conversations that I know me and Jason personally had to have like because I had a pretty big chunk of money, and I was like, am I going to take that huge chunk of my savings and like put it towards this coaching certification? And I'm really blessed to have a great partner that, is supportive, but it was
Yeah.
a really big investment. And so I decided to say yes. And that was the moment that literally changed everything for me, that decision to go all in this coaching certification.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so crazy. And it's just funny to know as we've talked and as we've gotten to know each other that we have similar paths that led us to where we are today. Like, and I
Right.
think it's really cool that obviously we did this at the similar time. And just like Desi said, like I found Beachbody. And it was like at the time I was in my 20s and I was just like wanting to be fit and healthy
Mm,
and look great, and that was like how I built my confidence. So I wanted to help other people in that. And then I was still doubting myself in the beginning. I remember when we had to like pick one program, from Beachbody and we had to like, tell people and like get them involved and pick a program for them. That was like like I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I was like,
mm,
like I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But I still really loved the community. I think the community was my favorite part about Beachbody, even though I loved working out for myself and like seeing the results and feeling confident.
mm,
I really enjoyed the community because it was just a lot of like-minded people that were positive and entrepreneurial and just dream big for themselves. And I think the one thing that I always wanted was at the time I was doing hair and I still enjoyed hair, but I just felt like standing behind the chair for so many hours in a
mm,
day, like I was like, I don't know if I can do it. Like I
mm,
just didn't. I also didn't love doing color at the time. I was like,
mm,
let me do cuts and like styling. I was like, that'll do. So I did wedding hair for a few seasons and I did love that. But again, it was just so much work. And I still had to
mm,
do like another job with it, or, I was in schooling or whatever. And so again, I always had this dream of like, I did love fitness. I did actually do my Zumba certification around the same time.
nice.
So I started teaching Zumba. And then I just was like, really want to travel and be able to work from my laptop and go anywhere.
Mm,
Like that was my big dream. It still is a partial of my dream.
mhm,
Like I just want to have that freedom and flexibility where like I could create my own time. I could create my own time. I could get paid doing for what I love, like what helping people in that way. Of course, originally it was like the health and fitness world because I knew about it, but it really did turn into positivity because I just wanted to be like, you can change your mindset. You can, and, it really introduced me to all of the personal development that I did. And it
mhm,
led me to where I am now because I just became obsessed with it. And then again, just like Desi said, like she happened to follow this girl, Angie Lee, and she was always talking about positivity and female empowerment and
mhm,
being goofy and fun, and she was entertaining, and she was talking about a little bit of the coaching world. And I followed her and I followed a couple other coaches, and I'm like, people are like life coaching and talking about these things, and I'm like,
mm,
whoa, like people are actually getting paid to do this. Like that's really cool. And I did do a
mhm,
couple of masterminds in the beginning of like what it was, but my thing at the time was like the health and fitness, and I was like, I'm not a personal trainer. Like I don't know how to help people with this stuff yet. So I really wanted to help them with the mindset stuff because I felt very confident in being positive. And I tend to be that person where like I was more optimistic and bubbly for like my friends at the time, especially. So they would ask me like some things like that.
mm,
And so I happened to come across her and happened to come across our coach and mentor for life coaching, which was Sam Skelly. And, she basically, her our original coaching certification was called Health Hungry for Happiness. And it was about her talking about how you're not truly hungry for food sometimes. Like it's the emotions behind it.
mhm,
And so her coaching certification was about that. So of course, being in the health and fitness industry and being always,
mm,
on the yo-yo dieting cycle, I was like, yeah, of course, like I want to learn this stuff and help other
mhm,
people and like become more healthy and all this stuff. So that's really what changed everything for me in that
mm,
moment when I said yes again, the same thing. I was doing hair and I was definitely not making much. So, I mean, grateful that I have supportive parents that helped me during that time as well, because again, it was a really
mm.
big investment. And I was like, I'm going to work my ass off and like do all the
Yeah.
things. And, like I was like, this is just, I can earn so much and there's so much possibilities from this. And I'm just so grateful that they support me so much because I definitely wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Right. Yeah, I remember going to my dad because he never really helped. He didn't help me at all financially in anything. And I like paid for myself to go get to my, what did I get? An AA degree back
Mm,
then. And I remember, let me ask my dad. Maybe he'll help me out. The answer was no. So I decided I was still going to do it myself, right? Like,
yeah.
you know, why did I decide to do the coaching certification? I think the biggest thing for me was that I knew I didn't want to go back to school
Yeah.
and I didn't know what else that I could do. And the coaching industry was still pretty new back in
Yeah.
2019 when we said yes to that. And I knew it was going to help me succeed in a way that I had not actually dived into yet or like dove into. And it was going to open up parts of me that I didn't know that was there. And it was really going to open up a lot. Like when I think about what I naively signed up for, right? It was like, oh, I'm going to be a coach. Great. But like what I actually signed up for, like what we
Yeah.
actually signed up for was our own awakening and healing, which is just
Yes.
wild to me because everybody has a little bit different of like an awakening story or like coming to their understanding that their world is happening in such different ways. So not only did we go through our coaching certification, it was at the same time of the pandemic for 2020 and like whoa, was that an awakening, you know? And so it was like a very interesting time that my soul decided to have this like huge awakening. And what surprised me most about the certification for me, it was that I had to heal all of my own crap first before I could actually coach others and before I could actually help others. I think for me it was like, oh, I have all this unhealed stuff that we're learning, and oh, she's actually inviting us to heal it in ourselves first. And so that was the thing that surprised me the most about the certification. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I don't remember the exact like thoughts of being like, huh, like thinking of what it was going to be at the time, like, and then of course being surprised. I think the connection with everybody was like so
Mm,
incredible. Like, having that group again, it was kind of like I definitely thrive in those like scenarios, like the groups and the like-minded people. Like that's where I'm like, oh, I love, like I'm with my
mm,
people now, like, and it's like you think differently when you're in
mm.
those type of certifications, and I'm in
Yeah,
another one where I'm like I just love that people, that there's other people. I guess I feel more like I belong, where I'm
yeah.
like I feel like I'm not a quote unquote normal person. Like, I don't want to be a 9 to 5 person. Like whenever
Mm,
when I grew up and I have friends, that are like they go to their job and that's it. Like that's not
mm,
me. I'm always like I need to like, read these personal development books, and I'm like I need to like do fitness, and what am I creating next, and
mm,
like, or do my classes and now yoga and all this stuff. It's like I never did just a quote unquote job that was like a nine
mm.
to five. Like it never just turned off for me. I was always
Interesting.
like, what's my next hobby? What's my next thing that can make me better? All right. Like
Yeah.
definitely what I always like strove for is the improvement piece, and like just being like I want to learn about myself, and I'm just curious about other people and like how to help people like feel really good about themselves too, because I've worked on my own self-worth like my whole life, and still like
Mm,
sometimes I have that confidence piece come up, and like I think that's what was the biggest thing, is like learning about my own self in the process of
mm,
the certification and realizing how deep it actually went. Like because again, like you said, like you're like we start to get into these practices and they're uncomfortable because you don't realize how much you suppress and how much your emotions are
mm.
such a part of your life. Like I remember talking about the anger piece, like one of the beginning modules, and I'm like, I'm not gonna hit a pillow. Like, why would I hit a pillow? Like, I'm not angry. What are you talking about? I'm not angry. And then it was like the things that came up and shift, and you're like, whoa, okay, there's something that needs to be looked at here, and felt,
Yeah.
and like finding that safety in our body to express ourselves fully. Like,
Mm,
it was scary. It was definitely
mm-hmm.
not easy because, most of us are not taught that. I think that's like the
Yeah.
biggest was like, oh, there's a piece that like we've been missing all of our life.
Well, there's definitely that man gen energy, like of you like trying out so many different things for
So many
sure.
things.
And I
Yeah.
remember you'd bring up the anger thing because I was like, yeah, I need to like, oh, wait, anger is sacred. Oh, anger is not a bad thing. Oh, when anger is
Yeah.
expressed properly, it's a good thing.
Right.
So that was like a really big, I love that. But I think one of the most uncomfortable things that she had us do was to be naked and like meditate and move in front of the
Oh,
mirrors.
that's right.
Yeah, and this was a very intense certification that we went to. Like we were in it for hours every week doing our own stuff, but I just remember that being like, okay, this is uncomfortable, this is weird, like I haven't done anything, but like you said, finding that safety, finding the safety to express ourselves and to be naked and to be in our bodies and to like love our bodies and
Yeah.
stuff. It was awesome. I loved it even though it like really pushed our edges in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, that's such a good point. I forgot about that because again, it's like we just don't ever we're not taught that piece. We're not
Right.
taught to sit with ourselves enough to understand ourselves and be like, and look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, why don't I love this part of me? Why
Hmm.
do I naturally just pick myself apart? Like, like I think a lot of us women do that. And like, of course, we're taught it a little bit and conditioned it because of, background and people in our lives and stuff. But it's the uncomfortableness that we definitely said yes to in that
Right.
certification. And again, it was an investment. So you were like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, I gotta show up.
Well, when you invest that much, right? Like
Yeah.
you're going to show up, you're going to do the work.
Yeah.
You're not going to invest thousands of dollars and like show up half-assed. At least I know like I'm not going to do that. And most people I
Yeah.
think who invest in themselves that way are going to show up. So I
Yeah.
would love to know, how did that experience change you personally?
Ooh, okay, personally. I think I did develop just so much more compassion for myself and other people
Love
because
that.
then I realized, and to this day I still like think of this all the time, but I think that was the beginning of it because again, it's like having those vulnerable moments and being like, wow, there's something here and there's a reason why I react this way.
Ah.
And it's like, why? Again, like it's like the anger piece or it's like learning where that comes from and not like blaming people, of like, oh, I learned it from this person or I learned it from this person and like, you just take it and run, you just don't know any better sometimes until you understand and you're like, oh wow, we're all like this. We're all just literally
Mm.
living a human experience, and it's
Hmm.
like I think that was a big thing. So I was always curious. And of course, at that time, I was dating. I didn't really, I don't think I had a boyfriend at that time. So it was kind of like I was dating on and off. And it was like recognizing who I wanted in my life. I wanted a
Mm.
partner. And it was like really learning about myself so that way I could attract
Hmm.
a partner as well that I really
Hmm.
wanted in my life. And then I was also learning like who I didn't want to be with
Yeah.
either. But I think that was the biggest thing. And then of course just having a lot more compassion for myself and people in my lives.
Beautiful. I think for me,
But yeah.
so many things honestly changed for
Yeah.
me in that I had a lot of trauma that I was still carrying around. Before I met my husband, I was in a 5 year
Mm,
abusive relationship. So that carried a
right.
lot of habits and ways of thinking and thoughts and ways of reacting that were like really hurting myself and my relationship. And I think for me, it always comes back to that anger piece. Like personally, like letting go of so much anger by meeting my inner child and like learning that you can let go of anger in a healthy way, like learning that there's a
Yeah.
healthy way to channel it. That really changed a lot for me because I wasn't carrying around all that baggage anymore. Because
Mm,
it was really heavy for a lot of years and it was
yeah.
really ugly, to be honest. And so for
Right.
me, it was like really letting go of that armor and like meeting that little girl and giving her that safe space and then learning how to go yell in my car and scream and hit the steering wheel and let out that anger. Like I needed that so bad. Like it was kind of like gonna like ruin my marriage if I didn't have that piece. And
Right.
so personally, it really I feel like saved me from me and saved my marriage for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's so amazing. So, what do you think were possibly your like biggest fears or challenges that you
Mm.
faced when you first started coaching?
I think the biggest one is always that like imposter syndrome. Like, who am
Uh-huh.
I to be doing this? Like,
Yeah.
do I really know enough? And have I learned enough? And so I know how I got through that was just reminding myself of all the shit that I had been through to get there, right?
Yes.
What else is the biggest challenges you face? Yeah, I think the imposter syndrome is a big one. And then also like sometimes just getting out of our own way because we could like overthink too much or we could over prepare or we can get into that perfectionism and stuff like that. I think a lot of that was very challenging for me. And I think too, there was a part of me that I was never good at like I don't know what's coming through is like I was always really bad at like taking tests or like
Mm,
putting on this being put on the spot or like having
yeah.
to speak in front of people or having to like perform. So there was a lot of that I had to work through as well. And yeah, I think that was probably the biggest things for me is like those imposter syndrome for sure of like who am I and why do I think that I'm able to do this, right? So, what
Yeah.
about you?
Oh, for sure. Definitely imposter syndrome for sure.
Hmm.
Because again, it's like I know our certification was long. We did hours. We did so
Hmm.
much that like gave us confidence and being like, wow, this stuff works. But again, it's like putting it out and asking. Honestly, it's the self-worth piece. It's like,
Mm.
am I, because again, people weren't doing it in my realm, or like close to me. So when I would tell them I'm doing
Mhm.
life coaching and, I wanted to charge, X, Y, and Z, people were like, are you what? Like,
Mm.
and it's like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Like, it's kind of like dismissing yourself and then just not believing in yourself. Like that
Mm.
was my thing. I didn't believe in myself in the beginning, especially like there's a couple I had a couple clients like during our time where we did our practicum and I loved them. They were like so amazing and I worked with them a little bit afterwards and like I'm still friends with a couple of them and I it's really cool to see people have these transformations and and just help them through different experiences. So I think, even though I had a little bit of evidence of people I was doing work that worked, for people, it was definitely the just building my confidence still and feeling like I was worthy enough to actually have people pay me to help them.
Mm. Love that.
Yeah.
Would you say, looking back, what's one lesson you're so grateful that you learned early
Ooh.
on?
Oh man.
I think for me, what came through right now is that done is better than perfect.
Yeah, that's totally true for us now.
Yeah, done is
Always.
better than perfect, especially at the beginning, because you're like, again, like that imposter syndrome or like, who am I? Or I'm not confident enough and all that kind of stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, done is better than perfect. It's like sometimes you got to throw your hat over the wall and then you have to go get it, right? And so I think for
Yeah,
me, that
that's a
was
good one. Yeah.
yeah, throw your hat over the wall, you have to go get it. And like for me, it was just like, yeah, it's just like putting myself out there and knowing that it's going to be scary and vulnerable and knowing that I'm not going to die and I'm still loved and
Mm.
accepted and I have food, water, and shelter.
Right, right. Creating that safety piece for sure. I think, hmm,
Want to circle back?
yeah, maybe I will. Yeah, because I feel like I could go in a couple of different directions, and I'm not
Mm,
sure like which one like what am I the most? I mean, definitely that, of course, like what you said, like I can totally riff on that. But I think the biggest thing is honestly it is back to the compassion piece for me. Like I think that's the biggest thing that
mm,
I'm like grateful to understand. I'm just grateful that I went through it to understand that we have these emotions and that even though we react a certain way, it's like we don't ever have to stay that way. Like,
mm.
where it's like I remember one example that I always remember our mentor always talking about was like the I am anxious piece and talking about the
Oh,
jar. Like being like I'm anxious and wearing that as a badge or the workaholic like that's your badge
good.
like and like wearing as badge or like I'm anxious or I have X Y and Z like labeling yourself with this instead of
Hmm.
saying like this is a feeling that I'm
Right.
feeling instead I think
Ooh,
that's
yeah.
like I'm really grateful for that understanding of emotions and just emotional resonance and all that stuff because I think that is such a crucial piece to life now and like I can't not like that is like the biggest part of my life now like it's just understanding emotions and understanding how people react like I don't take it personal for the most part so like it's like yes I have those moments and I get triggered too but for the most part I'm like oh you're feeling a certain way or this is this is evolving because of your own experience so I can have compassion
Mm,
for you for feeling that way um and get curious because I definitely have those those qualities where I'm just always curious of like, why are you feeling this way? Or why am I feeling this way? And like wanting to help people through it, but even if they don't want to themselves, or maybe later they'll ask me about it. But I think that's probably
Mm,
the biggest thing is knowing that you don't have to be anxiety for the rest of your life. You don't have to be an XYZ, whatever you're labeling
right.
yourself as. It's something that you can start to feel instead of actually identify as.
Yeah, I think for me, I went business, but as far as like the healing piece, I think for me, like forgiveness was a really big thing that I
Oh
needed to
yeah,
work on
forgiveness.
was like, okay, forgiving the person doesn't set them free, it
Ooh,
doesn't make what
yeah.
they did okay, it doesn't make any of them an excuse, but it actually like really sets us free because if we're holding on to the resentment or if we're feeling like we can't forgive anybody, like that's keeping us stuck, that's keeping a hold on us,
Mhm.
that's making us smaller, right? So I think the forgiveness piece, and then you mentioned the anxiety, and it was like, I am. I am anxious. Well, how did she said it? I don't know. The way that she had always like worded it was really good. It was
Yeah.
like I am not anxiety. Like I'm not
Yeah.
anxiety. I'm experiencing anxiety. And I
Yes.
think that was a big part for me too. It's like because we put all these labels on ourselves, like, like I'm a workaholic or I'm overachiever, or I'm all these things, right? And it's like, no, we're taking on those identities as like a badge of honor, but it's like actually no, like we are separate from those things. And so I think that was a big one for me as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good one. Okay. So our next question, which we're both kind of sharing, I'll start it off. So how did we end up meeting and what made us decide to create something together? So what a fun question. And what we love to share is that going back to the story how we both kind of came across this girl, Angie Lee, and then we came across Samantha Skelly, our mentor, and did the coaching. So of course we took the certification together and I don't think we've ever like really worked together or we're really
I don't think we
partnered
did
up,
either.
which
No.
I don't, yeah, which we were partnered up we had sisters, throughout the whole thing. And so we were partnered up quite a few times in our certification, but we were
With
never
different people.
personally,
Yeah.
yeah, with different people. We never were actually partnered up. But of course, at the end, the big thing is we were doing a whole graduation slash retreat in California in San Diego. That was a big part of the ending of our certification. And then right before that, we also had another opportunity to go to San Diego, which is how we first actually met in person.
Oh yeah.
And
Heard about
so we
that.
went to Angie Lee, the girl that we talked about before. She had a Pays to Be Brave like
Mm.
seminar, event
Conference. Hmm.
conference. Yes, like a women's conference. And we were like, heck yeah, we're going. There was a group of us from our certification that went and we got to meet in person. We got to hang out. We got to have fun together. So we got to, of course, meet then. And we had these videos that are so much fun. And I
Hmm.
had my short hair and like
Yeah, we should get them
totally
out.
looked different. And we got to hang out, all of us, and then we got to be with each other again within like the next
Month?
1 to 2 months. Month, it was
Yeah.
basically about a month that we came
Yeah.
back and we did our whole certification. Again, we weren't because we weren't in the same group at the in the beginning. Like it was like wasn't until the really event we're like, oh, we like each other. Like we
Hmm.
vibe. Because like I was in a different house staying there for our graduation and you in a different house, but we
Yeah.
kept like hanging out. And me, they were like, Lisa, come here, like come hang out with us. Like so it was so much fun that we got to be at these events and again like meet in person and just be like, oh, we click, like this is cool.
Right. Yeah, I just know that me and Lisa were dancing and having fun and like the loud ones and the rowdy ones. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're my girl. Like, what's up? Let's
Yeah.
hang out. And I remember your short hair now. You had a really short hair, like a pixie cut
I
almost,
was like a
right?
pixie cut. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. We should bust out some of those old pictures
Yeah,
and
we
use them
will.
for some content on our
Oh, that'd be
podcast.
fun.
And
Yes.
so I think the first time we created something together was it the gratitude
Yeah.
challenge?
Oh
Because I
yeah.
was just looking at memories, and I think that's like almost one of the first things we created together was like a
Because you
gratitude
guys did this
challenge.
the summit, and then I
Yeah.
think after that we decided we wanted to do something. And yeah, the
Yeah.
probably yeah, the gratitude challenge probably. Oh my God, that was so long
Yeah, I
ago.
remember our little flyer was like pink and white and it was
Yeah.
stripes and it was before like Canva, I don't even know, or maybe it was
Yeah.
like what we were, yeah. And I think we
I
did
don't
like a
know.
10-day or like a month of gratitude or
It was
something like
yeah.
that.
It was like 14 days or something, I think.
Yeah. Well,
But
and it's
yeah.
interesting
Oh
because
yeah,
we've like
month. We did like May gratitude or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I do remember that. And it's funny because like we did keep like coming back together because like life would get busy or like we would kind of
Yep.
like do our own things or whatever. And then we like ended up back in like a program together that neither of us
Yeah.
knew that we were in the program together. Like,
Yep.
hey, hey. And like, so I think what we did that back in 23. Was it 3 years ago? The Krachik's calling, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So I
Yeah.
think that's when we really rekindled. And like for
Mhm.
the last like 3 years, we like decided to like go on all in on things together. We do like a lot of energy renew, energy reset.
Yeah.
We've done like a
Yeah.
10-day event together. We've run
Yeah.
masterminds together and like we really like just come together. And I think it's just super easy and it's really
Yeah.
like clicked for us. And I know from other experiences, it's not always that easy. And I'm super grateful for you. And I'm super grateful that it has been this easy for
I
us.
know. I know. I know. And it's kind of like we came back together when we did this program called Creatrix Calling with another mentor that we were back involved with as well.
Again.
And yeah. And it's like one of those things because again, it's like we just know when you have somebody else that's doing something similar to you or similar like minded and like has the same energy of you, or you can bounce things off very easily. It's one of those things where you just can't lose that. We were just like, can we like help each other, just support each other in what we're creating? It was kind of like one of those moments where we both were like, are you feeling what I'm feeling? And like, are
Hmm.
we ready to get back into it? We just like, I was like, I know can just keep talking and sharing ideas and like helping each other and supporting it. We kind of did like an accountability thing in the very beginning. We
Yeah.
were kind of like, let's
Right.
like do some accountability. Like, what are you going to do this week? Or what are you going to do this month? So we kind of like really supported each other in the beginning. I really wanted to go through the course together, like at that time.
Yeah.
So we supported each other and we kind of shared each other's ideas and it was really great. And then we were kind of like so the course was about like creating a challenge and that's kind of where the energy reset
Yeah.
came about because we were like, you want to do something together? Like that'd be really fun. And we did
Hmm.
and it was great. And then we did like a mastermind. We did a couple masterminds out of it with some
Yeah.
people. It was a lot of fun. And again, like you said, like it is just easy. And I think, some we can definitely take it for granted because sometimes it
For
doesn't work
sure.
out that way. And we're just so grateful that we ended up in the same container unexpectedly. And now
Yeah.
we're besties again.
The universe has definitely been working for us to come together, I think for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
And
you
it's
could, go ahead.
good. I was gonna say it's a shame that we are on the opposite side of the country.
I
That's the
know.
only bad thing. That universe did not get that right,
Right?
unfortunately. But
I know it really is. We're like literally on the opposite sides of the country together, like the furthest we could be from each other.
pretty
So,
much, pretty
yeah,
much.
pretty much. I know we're due for in-person meeting, that's for sure. I'm so
Yeah.
glad Lisa came out a couple years ago now, I think,
I
and we
know.
did
It's
like a
like 2
full-on
years
photo
ago.
shoot,
Yeah.
which we're like, we don't know what we're going to use all these photos for, but we know we're going to use them eventually. And then like all of the
Yep.
photos where we're like very like professional that you guys see for the podcast is like, ooh, now we
Yes.
know exactly what we're going to use this for.
And it
So,
was so much fun. Like literally the best day ever when we
yeah,
did that. It was
yeah,
literally so much fun. And the photographer was great too, of course, and
yeah,
she
she
brought
was.
the energy. But like literally I was like, oh my God, if I got to do this every day with Desi, it'd be
Right.
amazing. Life would be the best.
So if we could go back and talk to the version of ourselves before all this, what would you tell
Ooh.
her? And I know what I would tell her is buckle up, biatch, because you're going on a wild ride. It ain't gonna be easy, but it's gonna be worth it. That's exactly what I would
Ah,
tell her.
yeah. Oh my God. I think it would just be I of course like my again like what I shared before is like my belief in myself has been like my biggest challenge because again it's like I do these things and I love them and I get excited about them but I just don't have that belief to like go for it sometimes. And
Mm,
that's where I would really remind myself, like, keep believing in yourself, keep trusting. Like, there's a
yes.
reason why you want to do this stuff, there's a reason why you want to help people. Like, do not give up. And I think I definitely let myself give up so many times because it just was like more comfortable. And like, I was afraid. I was so afraid. And like, and I think that's what I would tell her. I would be like, just
Mm,
don't stop. Just keep going. Like,
keep
just trust the
going.
process.
Yeah, I think trusting the process is one thing that Sam would say to us, like trust the
Yeah.
process because sometimes it feels like you have a bunch of ingredients and you have to put
Yeah.
it all together and make it, but like you
Yeah.
can't really see what you're making yet because you've never done
Yeah.
this recipe before and you've never actually put it together. And then you have to trust the process. And then you're like, oh, that meal was amazing. That cake came out amazing, right? And so it's
Yeah.
like trust the process is so important.
Yes.
This next question here, I don't really know. What's one thing people often assume about our journey that's not actually true?
Hmm. I think. I think people do misconstrue that I am more confident than I am
Mm.
because I've had people and like one of my first like mentors, business mastermind, when I didn't know what I was doing before life coaching, like she was like I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And she was like, what do you mean? You have red hair. Like, how are you not confident? Like, and
Uh-huh.
I was like, I don't know. I like, I just would doubt myself all the time.
Mm.
And I would just, and it's funny, like I had an energy reading for my birthday and she was like, you've struggled with confidence like your whole life, haven't you? And I was
Mm.
like, oh my God, yeah. Like, it
Hmm.
was like that gut punch. I'm like, don't like call me out like that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think people just, even though like I do so many things and and I might be confident in certain things, right? It's like I teach yoga, I teach Zumba, and people will be like, I don't know how you do it. Like, and I'm
Right.
like, that's easy for me. Like, but I guess like I'm just confident in that area. And there's
Mm.
other areas I'm not. And I think
Interesting.
people can, especially with us showing up on social media, it's
Yes.
still not easy. I still have to talk myself into it, like I have to get into the energy of being like, here goes nothing post, and like not allowing the self-doubt, not allowing the negative thoughts to take over because that's definitely a skill I think I've
Mm.
learned as well going through everything.
Yeah.
How about you?
I don't know. Nothing's really coming to mind, but I think a lot of
Yeah.
people just assume that we have it more together than we do. And
Yeah.
maybe in some aspects we do, but we're still like for me, I'm still healing stuff with my inner child. I'm still
Yeah.
meeting her. Like
Yes.
for my inner child pool party this weekend, like I
Yeah.
had all these people that were coming, and then all of a sudden, like this person couldn't come, and this person couldn't come, and this
Oh,
person couldn't come, and then my inner child's like, no one's coming, and then she's like, sad, right? And so of course I sat down, I journaled it because I am the product of my own
mm,
work, and
yep.
journaled it. And her, well, let me see if I remember what we came up with. It was to her it was like if people don't come they don't like love her, which obviously is
Yes.
not true. And like the reframe was, people have lives, and just because they don't show up
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they don't love you. And I'm not giving that as much credit as what I came up with in my journal.
Yeah.
But like it's, so I was able to sit down and like work out with her. And I think people
Mm,
assume just because like you're a coach or you're a healer or whatever, like you're like healed or like you don't have things
yeah.
that come up. So I
Right.
think that's one thing. And I think sometimes maybe some coaches and healers actually don't do the work like we actively do. But
Yeah.
I believe that a good coach and healer is working through their stuff as
Yes.
it comes up, right? And so if
Yeah.
I'm an inner child worker, you're doing whatever, like you're doing your instant shift, right? Like you've been sharing how like, oh, today I really didn't want to do the things, or like
Yeah.
today, like I was really having a hard time, right? Like it
Mhm.
still comes up for us, and we still have to
Yes.
like put our own tools into action. And so I think a lot of people can assume that like, oh, it's easy for them. It's
For
not.
sure. Yeah, I think easy is the word. Like I think
Yeah.
people think even though we know all the tools, and that's why I'm super vulnerable and honest when as I'm going through instant shift and having all these women go through it because I'm sharing all the practices and I'm like, listen, all the practices sometimes don't work. And it's like I have to slow my roll and be like, what's actually happening in this? And I have to do the deeper work and I can't bypass it.
Hmm.
Like and I think that you're so spot on with that too. Like I think people think that we just coast and everything's run rainbows and sunshine and like I've had a year already and it's like going through it and those tools help me get through those moments.
Mm.
They're not like I can't just bypass life. Life
Hmm.
still happens for us,
Yeah.
regardless, and we don't have control over that.
Gosh, yeah. So what would we say that we would hope women listening to this podcast take away from hearing our
Mm.
stories? I think one thing that was
Mm.
coming through is I don't know how to like articulate it exactly,
Mhm.
but things are scary, and sometimes our biggest decisions are the most scary, the biggest investments, the
Ooh,
biggest
yes.
boundaries, the
Yes.
hardest things that we have to do and go through are actually the catalyst to where it is that we're actually desiring to go. And so like I know people were like, "Wait, what? You're gonna do what? You're gonna spend that much money? You're gonna do this?" Da da da.
Yeah.
Like not everybody's gonna understand you, and they don't need to.
Yes.
You need to be behind yourself 100%, and
Mhm.
take and do the thing that could be the catalyst to where it is that you want to go.
Ooh, that's so good. I think, yeah, learning that lesson over and over and over again. And I think another thing is too, again, like we talked about, is like we're all living a human experience, whether you resonate exactly with our stories and what we've shared today, or you resonate with just a couple pieces or just that feeling where you are not alone. Like you
Mm,
absolutely can find somebody that has a similar experience and resonate with it. And I think that's why we created this podcast. It was for people to know the human experience, even if we are in, the quote unquote spotlight and on social media and posting every day. It doesn't mean that we got it together, just like you said. Like, no one, like, I keep coming back to this other, like, quote or just a remembrance that I keep saying is like, no one has a, instruction book for what human life is supposed to be. Like, nobody. Like, things can shift in the blink of an eye. And it's like, what do you do? Like, how do you respond? How do you react? And who's there for you? And all these things, which are really, really tough sometimes.
Hmm.
And I think like learning these lessons and so much lessons, even my boyfriend, we're like, we've talked recently about like different areas of our life and like friendships and stuff. And we're like, we both have had similar visions in our life and have done our own thing at some point. And like some of our friendships don't take it the right way because
Mm,
again, we don't want to just work a 9 to 5. We have bigger visions. And sometimes it's really hard, to articulate and to understand if somebody has a different life experience in you or a different vision, and I think that is really important to know that whatever you're thinking, whatever you desire is really truly for you. And
mm,
just like me and Desi keep coming back to this vision and keep coming back and creating together, like there's a reason. There's a reason why like we have these ideas. There's a reason why we want to help and support people because we do believe that everyone has their own soul purpose. We do believe that everyone is meant to live a full life. And so I think we just want to share that message, a reminder that we are vulnerable and that we're human, and
mm.
this is why we share about this every time on our podcast. And we just really hope that whoever's listening, and we really do appreciate you, we're so grateful, and we do really want to hear your story, and we want to
Mm.
hear some feedback from you because again, this is why we do this. So we hope you resonate with us and resonate with our stories.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions or want to know anything else about our stories or any ideas, please again always reach out to us on our Instagram, Real Talk, Real Healing Podcast. We'd love to hear more about it. And I know there's so much more to our journeys and to our stories, and we want to
Yeah.
continue to share that with you as we continue to grow this podcast.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a sticker or something or whatever like on the
Yeah.
stories about like
Good idea.
question like Q&A, like ask us questions. So if you're listening to this on the day that it releases, definitely go to our Instagram stories so you can ask us any questions or give us any feedback or just like share what you're feeling. If you really resonate with anything, we would love to hear from you. And then we'll do like a Q&A, another Q&A as
Yeah.
well. So definitely stay tuned and come back to our Instagram our podcast Instagram. So that way you can share with us. Maybe we'll do like a post and like we'll leave it pinned or something so you can ask
Yeah.
us questions and hear our story a little bit more. But we love connecting with people. We love understanding and being curious and just again, I think just having you be seen and understood is like the biggest thing that everyone
Mm,
wants. So whether
yeah.
that's us, whether that is someone else in your life, like it makes life worth living, really. And
Mm,
at the end of the day. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this and maybe
yeah.
we'll do another one and we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for being here, guys. We appreciate you.
Until next
Bye.
time, bye.